Okay, we are live. We are live. If you can hear me, we had some technical difficulties a few minutes ago. If you can hear us, let us know. Let us know. We are live. How does that sound? This is the H-Town Vet, and we'd like to welcome you to our channel. Okay, now, when you come in the room, give us your branch of service and the state or country you're living in. We appreciate it. Okay. All right. We'll add a little music. Hopefully, it's not too loud. All right. Come on, children. Let us know. Come on into the room. Give us your branch of service and the state you're living in. The, okay. All right. We're here. We're live. As come on into the room. We're going to get a few more people. We do apologize for the technical difficulties. We're doing a live today about divorce and veteran benefits. All right. We're going to deal with a few areas. We're going to talk about divorce and disabled veterans. We're going to talk about child support. We're going to talk about alimony. We're going to talk about retirees. We're going to talk about whether or not you got a VA home loan. What effects does divorce have on that? All right. Come on into the room so we can get started. All right. If you, we would like you to give us your in the chat. Let us know where you're at, where you're from, your branch of service, and the state or country you're living in. I'm the H-Town Vet, and I'm from Houston, Texas. I'm from Texas, U.S. Army. Now, we're going to get started here. We're about to get started. Let me know if you can hear me. Can y'all hear me? Send me a message if you can hear me. All right. We're going to give it about a minute or so, and we're going to get it kicked off here. All right. Now, we're dealing with the divorce. Okay. Our goal here is to inform. All right. We're dealing with, our goal here is to inform you. We're not to give legal advice, but to inform you and make sure that you're not misled. There's nobody's goal to get a divorce, but you need to be informed. And if you have any family members that are in the military, it's important that you understand these facts. How divorce affects you and them also. Okay. Now, we want to start by talking about, and when you come in the room, give us your branch of service or state or country that you're living in. Shout out. Let us know, because we want to know where we getting where you coming in from. Okay. Now, um, okay, so when we marriage is a contract. A lot of people talk about marriage as being a union, and we understand that. Okay, but marriage is an actual contract. Okay, so you need to understand that that is a contract between two parties in the United States. Okay, now the issue is, how does marriage the when a marriage is resolved? Okay, we got David, Marines, and Army Reserve. Okay, that's good. Retired, living in Houston. Glad to have you back, David. Now, remember, a lot of you got to understand when whenever someone gets married, you are actually signing a contract. It is a binding agreement with a second party and a third party. The third party is the state that you live in. You are giving them control over your marital relationship. So when you try to dissolve that relationship, they are the ones that set the laws and rules, your state or the state that you get divorced in. And it'll be very prudent to get informed about the laws in your state. Now let's move on. We said that it's a binding contract. Now we want to talk about the fact what we're going to talk about today. How does divorce affect your veteran benefits? This is the key today. This is what we're going to be talking about. How does it affect your veteran benefits? Well, it's going to affect your veteran benefits in different ways. It depends on, military benefits. I mean veteran benefits. If you're active duty, it may affect you too. But here, there are three ways. The first one, if you have a VA home loan and you're getting a divorce, there's certain things you need to understand. It affects that. It affects your military retirement and your VA disability compensation, possibly. It depends. All right. Now, what is divorce? It's the end of a marriage. Divorce is the end of a marriage. Simply put. Now, what are the issues that are dealt with in a divorce? It deals with such things as course custody, assets. You have lawyers involved, and also it's dealing with the split, two parties breaking up. Now, for those that are getting that before they get married, they have the option of getting a prenuptial agreement. Many people don't like them because they saying it's like you're setting yourself up for failure. But for people, especially the people that have a lot of assets, wealthy people in particular, prenups are a very important thing. Okay. Give us your opinion. If you're for if your attitude, you have a positive attitude toward prenups, would you sign one? If you would sign a prenup, give us a Y for yes, N for no. Okay. Do that for us. Let me see. Would I sign a prenup? I put a Y for yes. Of course I would. Now, we're going to give a little background about divorce, and then we're going to go into the military aspects of it. Now, if you don't have a prenuptial agreement, everything's going to be handled in the court, either through mediation, between you and your significant other, your spouse, or if whatever's not resolved in mediation, the judge and your and you and your spouse is going to have to make a decision. The judge will rule on certain things, but you have to put your signature whether you agree or not. Everything's handled, and what's what they're talking about? Dividing things up. This is the key thing. It is to divide things up. So, okay. Now you're not dividing up the love. Nobody's dividing up the love. Okay? You're not dividing up the love. So what are you dividing up in a divorce if it's not the love? You're dividing up the assets. So a lot of people don't realize that just like medical bills, a divorce can be very expensive. It don't take but a couple of dollars to get married, but a divorce could bankrupt people. It could cost you a home. It could cost you custody of your children. So this is what you need. That's why we're talking about this today. And when you're dealing with your assets, there are different types. And this is important to understand. All right. And they call it property. So you have personal property. You may have inherited a house, cars, money, different things like that. You might have been left a trust. So you need to make sure that you're protected, even as though this is your personal property. We're just giving a brief overview, and we're going to talk about the military aspects of it. Now, then after personal property, guess what's next? Then you have community property. Community property are usually the things that you have during the marriage. Any assets acquired or earned during the marriage is assumed to be divided equally at the time of divorce. So if y'all bought a house together, even if the house is just in one of the spouse's name, that's still also okay. Rolls Royce, love don't live anymore. I remember that love don't live anymore. I understand. She loved me, but she loved my benefits more. So now we have a lot of women who are retiring. So a lot of women are also being affected by divorce. Now, let me see, branch of service. I can't get this out the way. So the next thing is an example of access includes your personal property or your bank accounts. I don't know why this won't come off. Oh, I got to get over to the banner. So give me a second because I have this covering up. Somebody say they on me. Now, let me get back to the banner. Give me a second. I'm correcting something here. And all right, now we can see it. So examples of assets include real property, bank accounts, vehicles, retirement accounts. That's right. If you retire, many times you have to take your spouse there with you to sign on your retirement. Did you know that? I'm not talking about military. I'm talking about in the civilian world. A lot of people don't know that. If you've been together so many years, they have to sign at your retirement. I've seen it happen to several individuals, male and female. Now, military pensions are considered community property also. That's what you got to, I'm talking about the actual military retirement. Now, when you break up with your significant other, you're no longer a unit. You're not a team anymore. It's everybody for themselves. So you need to be aware that no matter what you feel emotionally, there are assets, and people don't divide up the love. They divide up the assets. So you need to know what's going on here. All right. So if you've liked this so far, what I'd like you to do, please like, if you can, I really would appreciate it. Share, and please subscribe if you haven't done so far. Okay. Now, if you want more information in general about protecting your VA benefits, watch our video, Protecting VA Compensation. It talks about protecting your benefits from creditors. It talks about protecting your benefits from from any type of taxes that you owe. Did you know your benefits from any credit card people you owe, medical bills? That's one thing about having VA compensation in particular. It's protected because it's compensation. It's also protected from student loans. But what I suggest you do, just get deferments, because once you get 100%, you can defer that student loan till you get 100%, and you can waive that student loan. But if it's in default, you cannot. So watch our video dealing with that. Now it's time for us to talk about the military members. When it comes to military members, okay, the thing is, of course, we're dealing with all of the branches: the Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, Space Force, and Army. Hopefully, I didn't miss anything. All right. When you're in the military, it all falls under the same regulations when it comes to divorce. Because one of the first things they want to know, and you ought to know this here, the military wants to know your marital status. All right. First, they want to make sure you fit for duty, and they want to know your marital status because that affects what type of benefits, compensation you get. For spouses and children, you can get extra funds while you're in the military. And also, let's deal with number one. So I'll get here. Number one, we're dealing with VA home loans. We're going to start off with VA home loans. Many of us, if anybody had a VA home loan, put a one in the one in the chat. If you haven't had a VA home loan, you can put a 2 in the chat. I've used the VA home loan before. Anybody ever used their VA home loan? How was your experience using your VA home loan? All right. Okay, Dawson never did. Oh, D-Law, you never did it. I have. Okay. That's good. That's good. If you haven't done it, but you are, why D-Law? If you just never had to, or you just prefer not to? If so, could you give us a reason? We'd appreciate it. Because that's very interesting, because I know a lot of veterans don't use that. Now, if you break up with your significant other and you have a VA home loan, you're going to need a letter like this from the VA that absolves them from it. So the first situation is where you get the house. Well, the first situation is that you had the house before you got married, so it's no issue. But if you got the house during the marriage, this is where you fall here. That means you need to get a letter that release. And if you get the house during the divorce, you need to get a release of liability. All right. So he said, yeah. So D-Law said he had a HUD Advantage voucher now. Is that better than a VA loan? What's your opinion on that? Have any of other people in the chat, have you ever heard of a HUD vanishing? Let me see what he got. A HUD Vash voucher now? Okay, I never heard of HUD Vash voucher. That's a new one. Okay, instead of getting a VA loan. If you're just coming in, give us your branch of service and the state of country that you're living in. And I've noticed some veterans, and if you had a VA loan and used it, put a 1 in the chat. If not, put a 2 if you haven't used the VA loan. I put a 1 because I had a VA loan and I've used it. All right. Now, dealing with this here, if the first situation if you own the home outright and it's your property before you get married. That's understand. So, and you end up keeping it, so you don't need this form. You had a VA loan on your home and you kept the property. Now, if you don't, if your significant other, your spouse is on the house, you're gonna have to get them removed because if they're part of the home loan, they're part of the VA, your VA benefits, your VA home loan benefits. So you need to get what they call a release of liability if you end up keeping the home. All right. The date here for Mr. Brown, because we're always dealing with Mr. Brown, is July 13th, 2012. So it's important that when you do that, that all whatever information that you're dealing with the VA, that you have, make sure everything is correct. All right. Now we're dealing with this. John Brown, his address, and they also sent, they want, what is the thing? Mary Brown, his ex-wife. All right. He divorced Miss Mary Brown. And they have the address and talking about the release of liability. Now, then the VA goes in the letter. So what is the purpose of the letter? The purpose of the letter is to advise the Department of Veteran Affairs, VA, hereby releases Mary Brown from liability to the United States government on the loan, and you are solely liable on this loan. You will continue to be liable until the loan is paid in full or you are released from your obligation. Now, this is important because if you want to, now that you're liable for the loan, you want to make sure you're straight because it can affect you getting any other VA home loans. All right. So this is important. Now let's go on. Who else do you want to say? Say, what should you do next? This is what the VA telling you. Once you get this letter from the VA, the next thing you need to do is notify whoever's financing your home. Let them know that the other party, your spouse, ex-spouse, has been removed from the house, the title. Now let's see what. Okay, Dawson got it good. He said that program that he was talking about, the HUD voucher, the VA pays a percentage of your rent. If anybody need any information, ask questions since D-Law is here now, because I didn't know a program like that existed. So thank you for the information. All right. So you should forward the enclosed extra copy because they're going to give you extra copy. Once you get it, make several copies and keep the original. You should forward the enclosed copy of this letter to your mortgage holder for their record. So it's important to do that. I know this ain't as exciting, but this information is important if you're going to protect your benefits. Okay. So that could be your bank, or that could actually be your whatever financial institution financed your home loan. So you have to deal with the VA, and you also have to deal with the people. Now, next, how can you contact us? Of course, when it comes to this, you can contact them by phone, but I like to do stuff in writing. This is a little different than VA claims. You want to actually do it in writing or email or whatever they ask for. And I want to make an important point to you. You have to give them a copy of your divorce decree. But here's the trick to it. You can't just give them a copy of divorce decree and assume that they're going to give it to everybody in the VA. You give them a copy of the divorce decree, they just going to waive it off your home loan. But guess, if you're getting VA compensation and you're getting benefits for your spouse, guess what? You need to notify the department in the VA that handles VA compensation. If not, you're going to have to pay the money back, because these different departments may not communicate with each other. Now, isn't that good information? So please, and have it in writing, something, a stamped copy. Now, then at the end here, what we have is they gave a copy of this letter. They sent a copy to, they CC'd Mary Brown. And, I got a little funny with the address, 666 Hale Lane, H-Town, Texas, okay? So it's important that they inform, so if there's any discrepancies or they're not for sure that they released from the loan, this is to make it officially clear that they have a copy of it, and this is all a legal thing. Now, here's how it goes when it comes to VA home loans. If veterans lose home in a divorce, this is the third option. First one, you had the house before you got married, so it ain't no problem. You had a VA loan on the house, you had it before you got married, no problem. Second one, you had a VA home loan on it, but you kept the house in the divorce. Then you do that release of liability letter. Now, the third situation is you had a VA home loan, but your ex-spouse got the home in a divorce. Now, this is critical. Do you want to mess up your opportunity to keep your VA home loan benefits? Please listen to this. This is very important. If veteran lose the home in a divorce, the veteran must demand that their VA home loan entitlement be removed from the marital home. If not, it will impact their ability to utilize VA benefits for future loans. So you may not be able to get another VA home loan. So you make sure that before you sign anything, that's taken care of, that they get it out of your name, refinance it out of your name. So this is important. It doesn't matter unless you have it in writing. So make sure that you have this information down in writing. All right. Now we're going to move on to military retirement. So this is our next, number 2, military retirement. We only have one after this. After this, we're going to deal with VA compensation, and that's going to be the end of the live stream. Military retirement. How is military retirement affected by divorce? Be patient, because you may not be a retiree, but you may be able to help others that are, or young people that are in the military. So, and I got a few questions for you after this here. So when you retire from the military, many people retire and they're living their life. Here's the thing. Now you got to understand, if you get a divorce, there are certain rules, and most times you're safe, that you're protected. All right. Right now, we're going to talk about the Uniform Service Former Spouses Protection Act. This is something that came into effect in 1982 because there was a big thing about divorce and who should get this. So now, this act is a very important act when it comes to retirement. So what does it do? The first thing that this act does, it allows state courts to divide military retirement as marital property, community property during a divorce. So you must understand, so the military is giving the state courts, whatever state that person live in, or where you got married, or where y'all residing at the time, to divide it up. So the state courts get the power. Now, why is this a significant thing? Because you're not dealing with the federal government anymore. They're giving the power to the state courts. Now, what else? The amount a former spouse may receive is determined by the judge in the final divorce decree that we talked about earlier, that final divorce decree. Now, how much are they going to get? Well, it depends on your state. It depends on what state you're in. Ex-spouses of military retirees could receive different amounts. It depends on what state you're getting your divorce in. Some give them 10%, 60%, 10%. It depends. They might give them 70%. In most cases, that's not how they do it. They usually split it up 50-50. All right. Now, let's talk about child support payments and retirement. That's a different thing. We're going to talk about child support payments and retirement. And we're not just talking about child support. We're going to talk about that alimony also. Give me my money. Your spouse wants their money. So the act also gives the Department of Defense the authority to enforce ordered child support and alimony, as well as the distribution of retirement pay. So whatever they come with at the state courts say, guess what? The federal government is going to enforce it. They the enforcer. Now let's talk about which benefits you're actually dealing with. All right, what retirement benefits are we dealing with here that can be divided up and which ones can't be divided up? When it comes to a retiree, the benefits that can be divided up, first, your retirement pay. We already discussed that. So you really, we talked about the division there. So we're moving on to retired ID card. That goes to the veteran. So they keep that. The dependent ID card, they have that. Then they have TRICARE for the veteran, for the retiree, and TRICARE for the dependent. Here's the thing. In certain cases, in most cases, they don't get to keep any of this once you divorce. All right, so we're going to explain that how you can get it divided up. When a military member and their spouse divorce, normally the spouse will lose their ID card and privileges when the divorce is final. 12 midnight when the divorce is final. Now, do we have any military retirees into the house that did 20 active years while they were in the military? Let us know. Okay. Now, while usually they will not get any of your retirement as a military retiree, there are two exceptions that you need to be aware of. And those two exceptions are very important to know because they're dealing with certain things. There are two so-called rules. The first rule is the 20-20-20 rule. What does that mean? You were married for 20 years, you were in the military for 20 years, and the 20 years overlap. That's the 20-20-20 rule. That while you were married for 20 years, you're married for 20 years, 20 years in the military, and the 20 years between your marriage and your military service overlap. And here's the information on that. Unmarried former spouses are granted full benefits when all of the following conditions are met. The couple have been married for at least 20 years. The veteran receives retired pay for at least 20 years of military service. There was at least a 20-year overlap of their marriage and military service. This is important to understand. Now there's an exception. The other exception, the second exception, deals with people can't keep their hands to themselves. Now, have anybody in here heard of cases? Well, we were in the military. We know that there have been domestic violence cases in the military. But if you're in the military and you put your hands on your spouse, there are different rules. What are those rules? So we talked about the 20-20-20 rule. Well, they don't have to stay with you as long if you put hands on them or they accuse you of putting hands. All right. It's called 10-20-10 rule. You only have to be married for 10 years. That the veteran, the retiree did 20 years of service and 10 years overlap, not the 20. So in the 10-10-10 rule, that's all it takes. Now, how does this look? How does this break down? Former spouses are granted full benefits if the military members were discharged for domestic violence. You have to be discharged for domestic violence. So if somebody is falsely accusing you, you need to fight it. And the following conditions are met. The couple have been married for at least 10 years. The veteran receives retirement pay for at least 20 years of military service. There was at least 10 years overlap of the marriage and military service. So be real careful. What I say, what I think is wise to do is if it start getting crazy, get your distance. Put a partition between you and your estranged spouse so no accusations can happen. I never break up with people in person, always over the phone or text, really. That way the accusations can't fly. But if you have done something to harm your spouse, you know, this is the consequences dealing with your military retirement. Now, it depends how they can touch your money. A state court can take your money, or even the VA, not VA, even the federal government being able to, it depends on where you get the money from. If you have military retirement, we already talked about it. So it depends. But with VA disability, that's a whole nother beast. Now we're going to talk about VA disability compensation. Now, we're going to talk about the VA offset. VA waiver or offset. When a military retiree waives a portion of their military retirement pay to receive VA disability compensation, that's called an offset. All right. So what you're doing is you're saying, you know what? That's for people, as we discussed in one of our earlier videos, that anybody that has a 40% rating for at the VA for VA compensation, but they're a retiree, anything under 50%, they offset it. They don't give it. So let's say you were getting $1,000 for you're getting $2,000 for retirement pay, and you're getting $1,000 for VA compensation. Well, if you offset it, boom, you can take that $1,000 and put it toward the military retirement, and you'll just be getting $2,000. The $1,000 for military retirement and $1,000 for VA compensation. You say, why would somebody do that? Well, if you're less than 50%, offset it. I'm about to tell you why. This amount is subtracted from the amount of retiree pay available. This amount is subtracted from the amount of the retired pay available to the retiree former spouse. So guess what? If you're receiving all military retirement pay, let's say it's $2,000, the other spouse get $1,000. If you're receiving retirement pay and you waive or offset that one of those thousands, that means that it's only $1,000 for military retirement pay, and they can only get $500. All right. Federal law prohibits state courts from dividing the waived amount. This is because VA disability payments are not considered marital property and are exempt from division in a divorce. Remember that. Now I'm gonna ask you this here. Has anybody ever tried to touch your military pay, your VA compensation? Have you ever had anything that anybody tried to garnish or anything like that, or tried to get it in a divorce or anything? Let us know. Because remember, our goal is also not just to get them these benefits, but also to protect them. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about, the last thing, is that VA disability compensation. VA disability compensation. I'm using a headset, so it's hard to hear myself. So if I misspeak a little bit, please forgive me. Now, when it comes to divorce and VA disability compensation, you're usually protected. It's like MC Hammer. They can't touch this, all right? It under most circumstances is protected. It's protected from a divorce, all right, but not totally protected. There are certain things. VA disability, VA disability benefits are not considered marital property and cannot be divided between divorcing spouses in a state divorce court. No, they can't say if you're going through a divorce, that's not even up for conversation. Remember that. Now, don't get too confident. Child custody is a different matter. If you are married, I want you to pay attention to what I'm saying and getting VA disability compensation. If you are married, please pay attention to this next section. Now, this is a key slide that's coming up here dealing with alimony and child support. State courts may consider your VA disability benefits as income when calculating child support or spousal support. This does not mean that they can touch it, but if you getting a certain amount of money and that's your only source of income, they can use it in calculating the amount of child support or spousal support. You say, well, H-Town vet, that don't mean anything to me. They can't touch it. No, they cannot touch your VA compensation. We just said that. But guess what they can touch? Guess what they can touch? You. They can touch your driver's license. They can touch your ability to drive to go to work. So they can do things that make it inconvenient if you're not taking care of it. They may not be able to touch your money. Guess what else? They can touch other things also. They can touch your ability to travel outside the country, take your passport. They can take your tax returns. Now, I'm gonna ask you a question. Y'all let me know in the chat. They can levy your bank account. You know what? I saw them levy veterans' bank account before. Now, let me ask you this here. I'm gonna try to go back a little bit. See, can I probably showed you too much, but I want to ask you, how much of your money can they touch when it comes to child support? If you're not paying for your kids, whether you're married or not, if your spouse or children are not living with you, how much of your VA compensation, what percentage do you think they can take? Let me ask you that. Can they take 5%, 20%? What percentage of your VA disability compensation can be taken if you're not properly providing for your children, or you're married and you're not providing for your spouse? They're not living with you. What percentage? Give me a guess of what percentage you think that they can actually, and this is dealing with the VA taking the funds, not the state. What percentage do you think they can take? 0%? They can take 10%, 20%? Give me an idea what y'all think. Just guess, it's no problem. Put the percentage in the chat. Now, this may be a surprise to some, but when it comes to that, it's covered under 38 CFR 3.450. Now, listen to what I'm about to read to you. So this is important. Dawson said 30%. Let's see. All are part of a pension, compensation, or emergency officer retirement pay payable on account of any veteran may be a portion. Now, did you hear what it just said? All are part. They can take all of it if they choose to. You didn't know that, did you? I didn't know it until I found the law. If the veteran, now here's the requirement. If the veteran's children are not residing with the veteran and the veteran is not reasonably discharging his or her responsibility for child or for spouses or child support. Meaning, let's say you and your spouse ain't living together, and y'all they live in one place and the children somewhere else. They can do something. They can get all of it, 100% of it. Yes. We glad to have you in the house, Donald. We glad Donald said 100%. Let's see what Dawson said. He said 30%. All right, we're going to keep this going. Yes, they can take all of it. Now, do they usually do that? No. That's why you need to know what's going on. So how can they do this? Well, the H-Town vet learned the hard way. I didn't know anything about this. Remember, the civilians know more about your benefits than you do. I didn't know any such thing exists. So guess what they call it? And we about to go over it. And this form is about to come up on the screen real soon. The form is 21-0788. Get very familiar with this form if you have children or you think this form is for apportionments. The other parent or the estranged spouse or if you're divorced, your ex or somebody you have a child with, they can file for an apportionment saying that you're not providing for your children. And if you're married, they can file the apportionment saying that we're married, but we're not living together. But here's the key thing. They must show a financial need. You see on the second page where I have it circled in red, if they can't show a financial need, and because the VA will send you a letter saying that on this day, we're going to withhold a certain amount because a request for an apportionment. Apportionment means they're taking a part of your VA check. And remember, it could be part of it, or they might take all of it. That's why you need to be informed and willing, able to fight this if it comes like that. Now, let's see what he said. D-Law said, Illinois will suspend your license if you miss 3 payments. What about where you living at, Donald? Is there any situations how they do it over there? How they do it in your state? Anybody else got any comments? What if you don't pay your child support, will they suspend your license in your state? And what other things do they do in your state? We would like to know. Now, we're moving along here. Okay, so now, this is what I want all of you to get very familiar with. This is the manual, the book that the VA regional office use when deciding your claims. This is the manual that they use, that they're supposed to go by when they're if they're saying that there's a financial need that you're not providing for your children. Remember, in this case, this is not the state court. In this case, the VA acts as the judge and divvies up your VA disability compensation if there's an apportionment that's assigned. But you need to be aware of this manual for several reasons. The main reason is if you file a VA claim and you're denied, you go inside this manual to get the information you need. You say, well, I can't afford to pay for that for $500. Google is your friend. You can Google the laws in this manual. I have a copy of the manual. You can Google the laws in this manual, and whatever the VA says, you can look it up in the manual to see if they're following VA law and make them change their decision. You can do that. So that also applies to alimony and child support. Okay, he said, I'm not sure. Oh, you don't know about in his state whether or not what they have. That's what Donald said, or where he's living at right now. Because I keep saying he's living in the Philippines, but I don't know. Now, remember that manual. We're almost through here. Now, watch our video. It's it goes through all this information real quick. Watch our video, Divorce and Veteran Benefits. It's in our library. Now, another video that you should watch. Now, this one might upset you. Now, don't get mad. Watch our video, Child Support and VA Compensation. Okay? If you saying, you know what, they can't touch my VA compensation, so I'm just not paying the child support. They can take my passport. They can take my driver's license. They can take my tax return. I don't care. They can even try to do the apportionment. But if you play around too long, guess what else they might take? That's going to be our next video that I'm going to remind you of. They can also take your freedom. And if you feel like you ain't going to pay it, and because they can't touch your VA compensation, watch our video, VA compensation and incarceration. Because this is important also because a lot of veterans get their benefits while they're in jail, because a lot of times they don't realize many of the things that we go through or defiance once we get out is related to our military service. Here's the thing. Try to avoid getting incarcerated. Let me ask you this here. If you get incarcerated, you get reduced. Let's say you had a veteran had 100%. What do you think they reduce you down to once you go in jail? They reduce you. How much somebody put a percentage in there. What percentage? All right, I want you to put that in there. We're going to take a second. We're almost done. We got about one or two more slides. If you are put in jail for over 61 days, what percentage of your VA compensation can you receive in jail? Or prison? I want to know. So let us know that. That's what I want to ask. So Dawson says 0. What percentage can you receive? Let's see. Okay, D-Law. Okay. Glad to have you in here. Stock guy, 60%. All right. Somebody else tell me. Not I think it's Haitian. Stock guy, you say 60%. You can receive that much while you're in prison. Somebody else tell us. And he's talking about suspend. Oh man, Tennessee ain't no joke when it comes to suspending your license. If you're $500 in arrears and miss 3 payments, that ain't no joke. So D-Law said 0%. Somebody else, we're about to leave. So let us know. Come on. Donald says 50%. We're going to find out who was the closest. The closest was D-Law. And I'm about to put it in the chat. Okay. Well, I'm gonna put it up on the banner. I'm about to keep putting your percentages, no problem, and I'm gonna put it in here. If you are 100% disabled and you go to and get incarcerated, no, I ain't put the right thing. Now, hold on. How much of your what percentage will they pay you at while you're incarcerated? So let's see. There's the amount there, 10%. They will pay you 10%. So you'll still be 100. Well, you're kind of 100 because when you get out of prison, you got to reestablish your 100% again. So it's like you doing another claim all over. Even if you receive, Haitian style guy, I'm reporting the news. That's all I'm doing, brother. See, this is why I know this seemed like kind of dry today. This ain't exciting as of the other live stream. Yes. Now I'm about to put you another trick bag. Y'all ready for another one? Now don't get mad at me with this question. Give me a chance to type it. I'm gonna put it in here. If you're incarcerated, you can waive that 10% and send to your spouse or your ex-spouse to take care of your children. Let's say your spouse is the one got you in jail, but you decide to send, and I've seen this happen to a veteran. So you could either receive the 10%, or how much do you think that your other spouse can receive? If you can receive 10%, how much you think the VA will give your spouse or strange spouse or just your spouse, period? And y'all not on bad terms. Give me some percentages. If you can only receive 10%, how much do you think they would give to your spouse or ex-spouse for your children? Because they get to the ex-spouse, it's going to be for your dependents. How much do you think that is? Well, you got to be married. You got to be married. Anybody got any guesses? And I'm about to tell you now. Guess how much they can get. Now, don't get mad at me because I'm just reporting the news. They can get 100% of your VA benefits. All right? There was a veteran. He was a Navy veteran. Man had retired from the military. He was didn't know there was less than. Yeah. Okay. So let's see what our stock guys say here. Didn't know that was any less than 10%. Yet, now if you're getting paid at 10%, let's say you only got 10% when you go to prison. How much are they gonna pay you? Now that's another one. Let's talk about that, and then we'll get back to this. How much you think they pay if you only got 10%? You don't have 100%. How much are they gonna pay you if you go to jail? Do you think they're gonna let you keep that 10%? They're gonna pay you 0%. What you think they're gonna do? Any answers? I'm about to tell you. I'm about to put it on the screen. Guess what they're gonna give you? They're gonna give 1/2 of 10%. So whatever you was getting paid for 10%, about $100-something, they're gonna give you about $50-something. Yes, indeed. Now, Dawson, you was close. So let's say I forget what the pay is right now for 10%. Let's say it's $140. They're gonna divide that $140 and only give you what's half of 140? $70. Yes. See, this is, and you got to understand something. If you dealing with people that know this, yes, $70. $70. He said it. Let's see what he said. I'm scared to answer. Okay. I hear you. The law say $70. Yes, somewhere around there, because I don't know what the exact pay is, but it's just an estimate. Now, understand this here. Let's go back to the other situation. And this is what we're going to end on. So I want y'all to understand. If y'all got any questions after that, you can. I'm willing to answer them. This is what I want y'all to understand. Let me tell a story. There was a veteran. This is a real man, a Navy veteran, who was got full benefits. He was 100%. And he was retired. He went over to his mother-in-law house to cut her yard. When he was cutting her yard, his wife showed up to her, that was her mother's house, with her boyfriend, lover. He stopped cutting the yard, the veteran, the Navy veteran. He went home, got his tool, came back, and put the man down. He went to jail. Now they had a child together. Because they had a child together, he allowed her to get his 100%. She had the VA home loan. She never divorced him. But to keep peace with him, she came to the jail every month to see him. But she told him to give them non-contact visit behind that glass. And he ended up passing in prison. But his son, she never married. She had a baby for another person, but she never married. Once your spouse, ex-spouse, are married, they lose the benefits. And like D-Law said, the moral of the story is it wasn't worth it. He never got to see his son again, as far as touching him anymore because of hugging him or nothing. She got the benefits. She living out the benefits right now. And this happens to female veterans too now. Whenever you can become a target. Some people feel like they're more entitled to your benefits than you are. So it's good that we protect it. Now, do y'all know anything? What do you think going forward veterans should do? Should we how now, I want you to be honest now. Should veterans I want you to put a N in the chat if for no and a Y in the chat for yes. If you get with somebody or should you tell them about your VA compensation or should you keep that business private? Okay. He lost said it wasn't worth it, her harming the person. And he said he was a correction officer in Arizona for 3 years. Now he say, so Haitian guy, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Haitian guy, stock guy, he's saying he wouldn't tell. At this point, I wouldn't tell no, because that's my opinion. So H-Town vets say no. What's y'all opinion? Is that a trust issue? What happens if you tell them? Well, when you tell them, a lot of times people can become, let's see, get with someone. That's now here's the thing. D-Law, I'm with you on that. Get with someone with the same benefits or more benefits as you. Now, I don't know if y'all know that. Let me ask y'all another question. Let's say you get with somebody that has the same benefits for you as you. And let's say y'all have a child together, but y'all divorced. They're 100% and you 100%. I want to ask the question, can they get, now follow what I'm saying, can they get dependent pay for the dependent child, or can you get dependent pay for the dependent child, or can both of y'all get it? So you can get it on your check and they can get the money on their check, or only one can get it. What's your opinion? So do you feel like, well, how I'm put this here? Let me just ask the question like this here. Can both veterans get a dependent pay for the child if both of them are 100% and they have a child together? I saw this happen. Who say no? Both of them can't get the dependent pay. Who says yes? Both of them can get it. So Donald said no. All right, Donald said no. Let's see what D-Law was saying about it. D-Law say no. What you say about it, Haitian stock guy? What you say about it? Anybody else that want to participate? Can both of them? Well, from what a veteran was telling me, he had that situation with his daughter. His ex-wife was 100%, and he was 100%, and he said both. So Haitian guy, I think you hit the nail on the head. Check with the VA, and from what I think I found out, both of you can. Yes. Let's see what Melvin say. Melvin say no. I thought no, Melvin. I'm not gonna lie. I literally thought no. Okay, but that is the case. Now I'm gonna throw something out there. We talking about that, having that home. Okay, let's see what he said. Only one. Well, nah, the VA said both of them are entitled. So I'm gonna get more information, but from what the information I've gotten so far, both veterans can get it because they're entitled to the benefit. Now, when they go to school, they might not get Chapter 35 twice. Yes, indeed, D-Law. Both of them got it. And I did some research, and I'm going to do more research to make sure that that's the case. But to my knowledge at this point, yeah. But they not going to. So, because this is the thing. They can't deny you a benefit that you're entitled to. If you get dependent pay, here's the thing. When that child turns 18, if they're on Chapter 35, getting that money, you're going to have to take them off as a dependent so they can receive that. You can't get that dependent pay and them get the Chapter 35, which they're going to get themselves. Now, I'm going to ask y'all a question. We talked about VA home loans. And I want to ask you this here, and y'all tell me what your idea is this. If you're married, can your spouse, and let's say both of you own the home, all right? Let me put this in a banner. I don't know. I'm just, if you're married, I'm just ask this question. And can your spouse bring another man or woman in the house with you? And legally you can do nothing about it. Can they bring another person in the house and say, hey, this is my boyfriend, or they say this is my girlfriend, and they're gonna live with us now? Is that legal? I want you to check with a lawyer, because guess what? Both of you can move whoever you want in the house, and they can move in whoever they want in the house if y'all living together. Did you know that? See, a lot of times, let's see what he said. So let's see what done. I thought the only one that have custody can get it. No. So like, let's explain. If you getting VA compensation, y'all cutting up, man. Y'all cutting up. Look at it. D-Law, I thought we about to get off, man. You cutting up, man. Listen what this guy said. Sounds like a threesome. Yeah, look at it. I'm telling you, I'm trying to keep game to you, because what I don't want you to do is put your benefits at risk by putting hands on somebody. You just handle it cool. You handle it, don't make no noise. You just get them on, out your house. Don't do no talking. Never do any talking. You understand what? Look what D-Law say. Three's company, huh? It depends. I thought about a threesome, but maybe not in the way she's talking about it. You understand? No, those kind of threesomes, no. There's too many balls and bats involved in that situation. So understand that when we're dealing with these things, that people will try to push your buttons. If they cannot get access to your benefits, see, if they can't see, they trying to regulate three things: your money, your time, or your blood pressure. If they can't get your money and your time, well, all they got left is your blood pressure, and they gonna keep pushing that button till you explode. So you have to make sure that when you're dealing with these benefits, that you protect them. I would suggest that you keep quiet about them, but and whatever the information they get from somebody else, that's on them. Your job is to handle your thing, handle your benefits, and protect them, because they're yours. They're not theirs. They're nobody's. They're for you and your spouse if you choose to put them on your benefits, and your children. But you get that money directly. Now, let me ask you this here. This is a question I want to ask. Let's assume that all of us are retirees. Okay. I want to ask this question. Y'all tell me what you think. Let me correct that question. I meant to say show. Oh man, let me edit that. Give me a second. I'm gonna edit that. I want to ask one last question. Let's say you are a military retiree. We've already talked about the situation with them giving half of your retirement or more. Given the way that the laws are set up, should a military member of member of marriage? Oh, I didn't put that right. Hold on. Give me a second here. Give me a second. Should a military member? I'll just put it like this here. Sorry about the way. So my question is, should a military member wait for marriage until after retirement? Since the 2020 rule, or if they say you put hands on them, you gotta how do they put it? They say you put hands on them, it's the 2010-20 rule, whatever. Which one? What is your idea? One in the chat if you feel that if you were in the military, you would wait until after you retire, or you would marry while you were in the military. You wouldn't worry about the retirement. Given the divorce, the way they would get half of your military retirement, and y'all were in there for 20 years, would you wait until after you got out of the military to marry, or right before you get out the military? Or you wouldn't put no restraints on it? I'm gonna tell you what I do. I'm saying, uh, I'm gonna put it in. No, I wouldn't get married. What's y'all opinion? What would you do? Would you marry? Would you marry in the military when you first get in there? And let's say y'all together 20 years. Well, I'm like this here. If you've been together 20 years, does it really matter? Should they get half of it? But I'm just saying, sometimes they cheat on you. You say no. D-Law says no. Would you marry while you're in the military given these laws? Now here's an issue that we have to really address. I'm gonna get back to your Haitian stock guy. He say he's never been married. I've been married before, but I had my feel of it. It wasn't a bad breakup, meaning I didn't lose a lot, but it was crazy. So he say he never been married. Let me ask you, D-Law, do you think you would ever get married? Now let's see what Haitian stock guy talking about. If I did 20 years, I would be single for life. with the live-in partner. Now here we go. If you get a chance, Haitian stock guy, please like, share, subscribe to the channel, because we're trying to boost the message and everything. We appreciate you. We had to put a little plug in there. Now here's the thing about those live-in, huh? Talking about that shacking. Donald say we're gonna get to you too, Donald. We about to deal with yours. Now, with that live-in partner, you got to watch for community, what they call it, common law marriage. And with the VA, I don't know if you know this, Haitian stock guy. We discussed this last night or the night before. I forget when we went live. If you put yourself out as married, that they can get part of your like, let's say you pass and they got evidence that y'all walked around calling each other hubby and wife, they might be able to have access to your VA benefits. Did you know that? Now let's see what Donald's saying here. Donald Maycock say, all right, too late, 41 years of marriage. I always said I would never marry while I was in the Army. Let me tell you something, Donald. Once you've done that many years with somebody, ain't no breaking up. Breaking up for what? Huh? There was a lady talking about, she was telling her pastor that my husband, he won't come home. He stay out all night. And so the pastor say, how old your husband? Say 62. She say, he told her to go home and go to bed. He'll be home in the morning. At a certain point, it's cheaper to keep her. And where you gonna go? So let's see what Dawson, he say, I'm not sure at this point. Now let me ask you, D-Law, is it that you're not sure because of the laws, or do you think you're not sure because of the way people act as far as valuing marriage? It's not like our great grandparents or grandparents. It's not like it was before. The marriage rate now, it used to be what, 80%? I know in my community, in our community, and now I think it's like less than 50. You understand? It's like 40, 45%. So I don't know. But he says the way people acting. So what you think about it, Haitian stock guy? Would you ever, I don't know if you're in a relationship, would you ever consider marriage? Or do you think it's too much of a risk? Donald say, my parents had me at 42. Okay. He said, so, oh, you was telling him your daddy. Yeah, yeah. My daughter, whoo, I was 36, 37. I waited a long time to have children. Oh, he says the way people acting, let's see what Donald say. Making you feel, oh, listen, I'm 55. It ain't no big deal. Now, remember, what you tell people can and will be used against you. So if they find out about it, I would suggest, let me ask you this here. Y'all got me thinking of some interesting things. Would you file taxes with a partner? Because once you file taxes, they have access to all your finances. Whoa, Donald say, okay. He said, your brother was 14 years older than you. My sister and I, we're that far apart, 13 and a half years. There's a big age difference. So he's saying he would not file taxes. What about, let's see if anybody else said, would you file taxes? So you did this year. So Haitian guy did. Okay. Haitian guy. Donald say he's 64. You 9 years older than me. I'm going to catch up with you because this year I'm going to turn 56. All right. Now, here's the thing I want you to be careful when you're talking about filing taxes. Do not put your VA compensation on there filing no taxes. I know somebody did something, I call it dumb, because then they're going to think you were hiding money. And the VA, the IRS might charge you saying you didn't show this income. This is non-taxable income. I haven't filed taxes in almost 15 years when it comes to my VA compensation. All right, it's earned income. Now, when it deals with filing taxes with a person, this is what you have to be very careful of. I don't know if you remember those Real Housewives of New York or whatever. Her husband, she was a stay-at-home mom, one of the ladies. Her husband was doing some shady stuff because she put her signature on it while she was a stay-at-home mom, and she didn't know what her husband was doing. Both of them ended up going to jail. So you got to make sure that everything is straight when you put your signature. And remember, I know, Donald, you say you've been with her long enough, you ain't worried about all that now. So Donald say no. Okay. Now, I want any final shout outs, any questions. We're going to get ready to end the stream. We appreciate and we thank you for joining us. And we're going to try to keep this going. I think the next live stream is going to be next week. I might change it and talk about moving to Houston, and y'all talk about some of the places that y'all live and what veteran benefits are in those areas, because that'll be really helpful. Because while I'm knowledgeable about Texas and Houston area, we need to know what's going on in Georgia. We need to know what's going on in Tennessee. Okay, we need to know these things, D-Law. And you inform us of a lot of these benefits so we can piece these benefits together, and I can produce videos where we can spread. But the only way that I can do that, or we can do that here at the H-Town Vet, is that y'all let us know what the benefits are, and so we can share this information. Okay? So, say, I miss Illinois. Do you think you ever move back? And we're going to get ready to end the stream. But we thank y'all for joining us, and we hope y'all continue to come through and to the lives. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. All right, I'm gonna stay in Texas. I lived abroad for a long time. Lived in Virginia, Kentucky. In the military, I was in Germany, Southeast Asia. Been all over. Okay, New Jersey. Give me a shout out. What anybody else? What about you? Where you at, Haitian Stock Guy? Where you gonna be living at? Appreciate your videos. Hey, thank y'all. And I want to thank y'all for joining us. And this will conclude this broadcast tonight. Thank you for everything. And y'all have a nice time. And we'll see you on the next one.